Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is on the campaign trail in Iowa today. He's trailing behind former President Donald Trump in the Hawkeye state, according to a Des Moines Register poll. Trump surpassed 50% support among likely Republican Iowa caucus goers. The first Republican presidential nominating contest is just 5 weeks away. CBS News campaign reporter Taurean Small joins us now from Iowa. Taurean, you are there with the DeSantis campaign. Paint a picture of what we would see inside the DeSantis campaign today. What is the mood like?
Yeah, so the DeSantis campaign held an event, a last-minute ad event, initially pegged as an event to showcase his wife, Casey DeSantis, but he's taken questions from the audience there. And this is really him getting back in the race, especially after a recent poll shows that he, Nikki Haley, and Vivek Ramaswamy are trailing significantly again behind former President Donald Trump. He's been taking the pulse of Iowans out here, and his response to that polling is that they don't necessarily dictate how this race will go. He has much more faith in voters here, and he's, touted for a while now tens of thousands of voters in the area throughout the state, saying that they're willing to commit to caucus for him come January 15th. He's hoping that that'll pay off on that big caucus night as well.
It said Trump is running on, quote, personal retribution. What is his argument to Iowa voters about why they should pick him over the former president?
Well, we've heard those three candidates I've just mentioned, Haley, Ramaswamy, and DeSantis, at some point mention synonyms around what they're calling baggage behind Donald Trump. That's his legal troubles right now that he's juggling on top of trying to somehow campaign somewhat actively in this race. DeSantis, though, has made this a case as a distraction, really, for this race. And he says if Donald Trump does pick up the nomination, this will ultimately drag down the Republican Party. So on top of that case he's been making to voters, he's been talking about the former president's record, saying that he said he was going to build the wall and get Mexico to pay for it. He hasn't. He says that he came in saying that he's going to drain the swamp. He hasn't. In fact, at an event yesterday in West Des Moines, he told voters there that in many ways Trump has been carrying the water or eating the lunch of the deep state for a while. So this is much more harsher rhetoric around the former president than we've seen on the debate stage. In fact, Governor Chris Christie in the last debate called out DeSantis for not criticizing Trump directly on these bigger stages. We've seen him take off the gloves on the campaign trail for sure, though.
You're embedded with the DeSantis campaign, but I imagine the name that you hear is Trump, Trump, Trump all the time.
Absolutely. But we've also been hearing quite a bit about Nikki Haley. She's been enjoying a recent rise in polling that's put her really close to DeSantis. They're both at this point competing for that second place stop. At his last event in West Des Moines, he's talked about Nikki Haley as being this two-person or two-in-one candidate. He's called her Hawkeye Haley in Iowa when she's on the trail, says that she shows or displays more conservative values, but when she's on the road in other places, she's a bit more nuanced. Particularly trying to appeal to those independent voters in New Hampshire. So he says that isn't the candidate that should best represent the Republican Party. We also saw on the debate stage, he took quite an aim at her, had her in his crosshairs. He's looking to get rid of the momentum that she's been picking up and make this race about him and Donald Trump.
What is the big argument against Haley from the DeSantis campaign?
Well, before we've seen attack ads against Haley about her history of working with Chinese or with the Chinese government, with China. He's also brought up again the fact that she's been speaking seemingly out of both sides of her mouth around some issues, specifically with abortion. He says that she's been significantly more lenient in states like New Hampshire when it comes to her stance on abortion, while touting some more of hardline conservative thoughts while she's campaigning here in Iowa. The case, again, he's trying to make is that Iowans especially should not trust Nikki Haley as the person to lead this party, considering in his mind she hasn't been consistent on many of these big topics.
I've been out there on that campaign trail in Iowa. It's interesting, Tori. Just briefly, what are you hearing from particularly undecided voters?
Yeah, they're in a tough position. Initially, when I came out to Iowa about a month or so ago, I talked to voters who said they were still undecided, and a lot of them weren't really considering Donald Trump. They thought he has too much baggage. In other ways, some candidate or some voters were looking for a more younger candidate to step up and take the lead of this party. Closer to the caucuses, though, we've seen that sentiment change. I've talked to a lot of voters, even at DeSantis' event yesterday, say that they are still considering the former president. They don't like the fact that he's not out here campaigning actively, but they understand that he has his hands tied considering the legal problems that he's going through. Again, this is still a lot of up in the air at the moment. January 15th, we'll know for sure, but we know Iowa can be unpredictable when it comes to who they'll pick as the party's nominee.
All right, Taurean Small, thanks so much.